English translation. 63rd contact, Wednesday, 22nd September, 1976, 16 Celsius 11 Tiers.
You made me wait unusually long before you showed up again. It took 112 months.
It is your fault, because you have overextended yourself too much with your powers. Thus, you were afflicted by a very bad lack of strength as well as fever attacks and severe pain, whereby you had to go to your bed. That is why I did not come earlier. I explained to you several times that we would take control if you did not finally follow certain rules and no longer spare yourself.
Okay, then you just wiped one out for me. I am taking note of that.
It has been for your benefit, and it will continue to be so. But be happy anyway, because in a short time you will be able to make your films at night.
At least a consolation. Can Manara also come then? Maybe she can also leave tracks someday?
Of course she will come one day, but with the tracks it might be a bit more difficult. For planetary flights, her ship has a propulsion system that generates gas clusters close to the Earth, which ignite and scorch the ground. That is why she usually does not set her ship down, but lets it float.
But that would be very interesting for us in particular, for photos, you know.
Do you think so? Maybe it can be arranged, but it would burn everything within a radius of several meters.
The grass grows back again.
Sure, I will talk to Manara.
If she at least comes quickly to burn the tracks into the ground. How would it be, however, if you were to lend me your radiation gun sometime?
You are very illogical.
Think. I want it only for a few minutes to hold it in front of my film camera and then maybe to cut down a little tree.
I will think about it. Maybe it can be arranged in that manner.
That would be great. You know, it would be huge fun if you could see in the movie that I had one of those things in my hands, pointing at a small tree, and without seeing anything, the tree just falls over.
For unknowing ones, it should certainly be exciting. I will really think about it. It might actually be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. But now a question. I recently met a seemingly nice person, a Carlo Dish from Ticino. He dedicates himself very strictly to our interests, and seems to achieve a lot in it. What do you think he should do for us? He is currently unemployed, and is now pondering whether he should go to Austria to apply for a job in Kuwait, or whether he should only work for us. He also prepared a report for me according to which he is said to have had contact with a certain Eloa of Cassiopeia in 1960, as he also writes here in this report. At that time, he was supposed to have been ordered to wait 15 years, after which he would be called on to spread the truth for a certain task, an organizational one, namely if the truth was spread from a certain side. Now he has contacted me with the statement that he must fulfill his task with us, because through us the signal given at that time was given to him. What do you think of this, and what should he do?
Very few Cassiopeia planets carry human life forms, and I know very few friends there. An Eloa, however, is unknown to me on those worlds, but rather a similar name, namely Elhoa. But perhaps it is a misunderstanding of Carlo Dish in that he misheard the name. His experience is unknown to me, but I could clarify that.
I do not think that is necessary, but you will not let it be taken from you. And while we are at it, I just went through several newspaper reports today about a UFO in Persia. It is supposed to...
I know the reports, but we were not able to clear things up. Our telemeter discs indeed registered the entry of an object unknown to us into terrestrial space, but it had simply disappeared without a trace and could not be found by any means when we tried to do so.
Too bad, but what should we do now regarding Carlo Dish?
First and foremost, I will have to examine him as well as his report. But it seems to me, according to your words, that the man could be of good value to you if his story is true, according to which he could act for you. However, it must be that he could be remunerated in some way, which incidentally would also stand for you, first and foremost.
You are talking nonsense again, my child.
And yet it will have to come to this, because your children are growing up and need many things more than before. You really should now give these concerns the necessary respect.
I know that, but I cannot make any profit out of my task.
Nobody demands that of you, and you yourself should not worry about these financial problems. Others will be very happy to do this for you, but you have to let them help you. By the way, I find the development in your family extremely remarkable. Everything can be started in a much better way and in a faster sequence than our earlier probability calculations had shown.
If you knew what the...
You do not tell me any news. Pay your wife my heartfelt wishes and thanks.
Thank you.
It is my pleasure. But now also think of my invitation from before on your part.
Leave that alone now. I really already have enough trouble with what is otherwise already being helped, if I am able to fulfill my task.
You will not be able to avoid it in the future because think, every work is worth its wage. This is a good proverb that you possess.
Do you really want to turn me into a materialist? That is damn bullocks.
Nobody mentions such things.
Then let us finally let this thing go. Listen now, I am supposed to give you all the warmest and dearest greetings. Everyone waited longingly for you, and their eyes looked for you.
Wish them all my dearest and most joyful greetings. But you mention too much when you speak of everyone, for our friend Margaret Rufer has another opinion. She defends herself with all means against any rationality and allows herself to be influenced negatively from different sides. Her path leads into the unreal and her path separates from yours. She is very stubborn and acts against her better knowledge. Despite that you give your help, for she needs it. From my side, unfortunately, I can do nothing more and I have messed up my holiday for nothing.
I know, unfortunately it is so. But also we can only hope. Regarding your holiday, since you cannot seem to accomplish anything now, you should go on holiday anyway.
I cannot do that anymore because I have committed myself to another task due to the circumstances known to you.
Oh my goodness, then your holiday is really in the bucket?
It is as you say if I understand your speech correctly.
I am sorry about that, but so are the others. Those stupid cows there, they are still mooing across the whole neighborhood together. If only they could be quiet.
They are affected by my ship. They are influenced by the vibrations of the safety devices.
But you also chose a funny place. I had to remove no less than 4 livestock wires and carry my vehicle about 800 meters to get here. Just look at me, that damn filth, like a construction worker.
Unfortunately, it had to be, because the air surveillance has become much stricter after the appearance of the different articles in newspapers and magazines. Even if officially nothing is declared about it and they monitor you, only extremely discreetly.
I can imagine that. The articles have sufficiently shaken things up.
It will get even better through your work because in the foreseeable future, the TV stations and radio stations will dare to approach you and the topic. The first successes in this respect will already appear in the next few days.
But the gentlemen Ahrens and Bertossi will be green and blue with anger.
Certainly, and especially when they find out that their intrigues against you and your group are only for your benefit, because every one of their dirty tricks brings you greater success.
We have already noticed that and we accept it. I just find it quite squalid that especially these 2 poor jerks have to drag you into the dirt and claim that you want to capture and subjugate the earth.
This assertion must testify to the truly boundless stupidity and primitiveness of these 2 men, for if we had ever had such actions in our minds, we would have realized such plans long ago, when Earthlings had no defensive weapons. On the other hand, even today's still very primitive weapons would not frighten us, thus there would be no obstacles to overcome. So why should we wait into the distant future if we wanted to conquer the Earth? Only very ill and still quite stupidly primitive brains are therefore able to hatch such nonsense, but not a brain that is already subject to intellectually based rationality. And those who believe such irrational, lying, and dirty lies are not much better off either.
That is hard because people do not know that the two of them are lying through their teeth.
This is not quite as you say, because if those people would think rationally, then their way would lead to you, because they could convince themselves of the opposite of the lying Ahrens and Bertossi assertions on the basis of our contact reports.
You are right about that again.
Sure, but now listen. For the time being, you should not give any more lectures in Germany, because other countries have become of great importance. This refers to the time until Ahrens and Bertossi had so impregnated the German soil with their hate tirades that it began to overflow. Only then shall you reappear there, because then these two lying good-for-nothings have completely played out and disgraced themselves to the point of near impossibility and should actually apologize to you, which they certainly will not do out of selfishness. Only in good circles of friends should you still speak in Germany and present your material, for example, in the growing circle of your very, very dear friends in Munich, where you have already found 2 brothers and sisters according to your senses. Pay them my dear and joyful thanks for this, as well as your dear friends who are always around you.
You suddenly speak like a religious chap. Dear sisters and brothers, dear congregation.
I speak only in your sense and according to your feelings, for in yourself you consider them brothers and sisters. Do not be excited, but you have let your thoughts run free and they have floated towards me.
You are excused, but you are still a hellion. Always at the worst moment you snap at my thoughts.
Which I can always be very happy about. But now we have to separate. The animals here become too restless.
I am sure they will ram your ship into the ground.
They will not do that.
Okay, can you maybe make me a map of Switzerland where you record where earthquakes can be expected in the country? Do you have any knowledge about that at all?
Sure, but there is not enough time. Make a map yourself so that you can draw in the relevant places yourself on my next visit.
Good idea. But now to Carlo Dish again. Can you recommend that he should work for us?
I am not allowed to do that. A corresponding decision lies entirely with him, because I and the others are not allowed to make a decision in such matters in any form. Furthermore, I have to check the story first. Every human being on the earth, on the other hand, must always do this himself or herself for the fulfillment of their duty, out of their own determination, and therefore independently of us. Never must anything in any form be dependent on us, which is why this is another reason why, as a rule, we only make ourselves visible to a few human beings on earth, but this only happens when they have become aware of our existence. As little as you are ever allowed to act as a teacher, as little may we show ourselves, because only in this manner is it, and will it be, guaranteed that the Earth humans will become independent, start to think and act in their own form, in the right form, and acquire the true knowledge and freedom within and without. But if we were to show ourselves, and if you were to act as a teacher, the human beings of the earth would once again fall into belief and remain stuck in their evolution. In that manner, nothing would be achieved, and the earth human would not become free and independent. So the only way is that he or she is only given the basic rules of the laws and recommendations with their explanations, which he or she must, however, compile in their own thought work towards the truth and towards the knowledge. Any delivery of evidence, other than those which we have given you for evaluation, would therefore be completely out of place, for if a form of life depends only on so-called evidence of a matter, then this means nothing more than a new belief. Knowledge, Truth and wisdom, however, cannot be acquired through such proofs, but only through one's own work of thought and through the attainment of inner clarity, through an inner creation of proof in truth.
Girl, this speech is well known to me. It comes almost literally from Svath.
I also took it from him. He was my grandfather, as you would say.
Man, I am going crazy. I last heard from him in 1953, but I have not heard from him since. I always suspected that he had died then.
Your assumption is correct.
He was a very likable old man, and he always seemed to me like a venerable patriarch. But tell me, was his pear-shaped ship one of your usual ships? You had a completely different 300-year-old box.
His ship was a gift from Assyrian people.
You mean from people of Sirius?
Sure, from one of the 2 inhabited planets of Sirius, but in a different space-time continuum.
That is what I've wanted to ask you for a long time. If there are inhabited worlds somewhere.
Sure, those 2, each belonging to 2 separate solar systems.
By that you simply mean 2 planets, which is some kind of hangers-on orbiting around a sun, right?
Certainly, but now we really have to say goodbye. Farewell.
Okay, I am going. Take care, little sister.